And welcome to the Podcast by Army podcast, where we talk about BTS, Army, fandom, and research. We are your co-hosts, Dr. Kate Ringland and
Jhertau Her, a university researcher. Woo!
Woo! Okay, and today we are talking about Jin.
Kim Seokjin, an icon, a legend, the most slayful BTS member, contending, because they are all very slayful, but very slayful person. The meme king. Did you know out of all the members, there needs to be statistics on this somehow, but I feel like the most memes get made out of Jin.
He is very memeful.
He is very memeful. And that makes him iconic and a legend.
Right.
And it also makes him the best person in the world. And worldwide handsome!
Woo!
Kim Seokjin. By the way, I have an American accent, and I'm sorry if I can't pronounce things correctly. Hee hee. Anyway, also, I know another Asian language, and that kind of messes up when I try to pronounce things in Korean, because tones are different.
It's true. They are.
But yeah, those aren't excuses. But that's just life. Anyway, yay, happy birthday, Jin!
Yay!
Let's go into our favorite Jin songs. I will start us off. Okay, this is not a cop-out, by the way. This is just genuinely my favorite Jin song. Because before this, it used to be Tonight. But now, it's The Astronaut. Because it makes me really sad. And I'm also really mushy and gushy. Because I miss him. Starts crying on the podcast. I love the whole theme of he's leaving, but then he's gonna come back home to us. And even like the lyric video.
Okay, I got this wrong. It was not the lyric video. It was actually the astronaut logo trailer where the little astronaut is traveling through space. It's not the lyric video. The lyric video is different. That is all.
Where like the little astronaut's traveling and then it comes back. So, oh my god, so cute. But yeah, it makes me really mushy and gushy. And also I love Woto, the little astronaut character he made. I don't have any merch of that, by the way. I missed out on the merch shop. Yeah, whatever, Kate. Whatever. You don't need a flex. You and your BTS bookshelf. Whatever.
The listeners can't see.
They can't see it. Yeah, and her love yourself decals on the wall. Whatever. Yes. I say that as if I don't also have a bookshelf at home. Anyway, but yeah, Astronaut's my favorite song. I think it is like so representative of Jin in a way too, because it's so just caring. It's so loving. And that's just Jin as a person. And that makes me really emotional. I think it's so poignant that he's literally just sings like I love you in the song as a way to say goodbye to us for a little while. But he's coming back home. It's been over a year since he's listed. I'm so ready for when he comes back and it's just all the daddy's home edits of that song. It's just gonna be only that on the timeline for a good while.
Oh boy. That's true. That's gonna be fun.
Also Coldplay is great too. I think it's so nice that he got to do this collab with Coldplay, especially after My Universe, because I feel like Coldplay and BTS weren't done after that. Yeah. I still don't feel like they're done. They might collab again in the future, honestly. Yeah. But having this as well as My Universe, it's like a little cherry on top. It's a little treat for us. And I'm like, I'll take it. Thank you very much. Yeah, what about you, Kate? What's your favorite Jin song?
My favorite Jin song is Abyss.
Ooh.
I actually just listened to that last night. But yeah, I was super new to the fandom, right, when it came out, because he released it for his birthday. It was a birthday release. In 2020, right? Yeah, so I was super new to the fandom. I didn't really know what was going on yet. I didn't understand everything that was happening, but I do remember that coming out. And I remember reading the note and stuff about the creation of the song. And anyway, I don't know. There's just something about the song that speaks to me on a personal level because it's very much about struggling with mental health. And so I relate to it deeply. There's just something about the song that makes me feel like, okay, this too shall pass. And so I listen to it for that vibe of I might be feeling down now, but things will get better later. But that also just like for me is what Jin encapsulate the no nonsense reality of, yeah, this is how it sucks right now or whatever, but there are still things to be grateful for and things that'll be better later. And so that's, I don't know, it's like a whole lot. There's a whole lot being wrapped into one little song, but that's Abyss for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like Jin as a person, this kind of moves into our favorite things about Jin.
Yeah.
But he very much is the type of person to be like, this too shall pass. And you just have to keep going. I don't know. Life is hard right now. There's a lot of things happening.
There is so much going on. Yeah.
And we should acknowledge that. And we do acknowledge it. Knowing Jin's words, it is comforting in the fact that we can move on and we can be okay. We just have to work through the tough things. Yes. Oof. Anyway. As we're moving into our favorite things about Jin, we have a list, by the way. That's one of the components that's our favorite thing, between both of us, our favorite things about Jin. For me personally, one of my favorite things about Jin is his no-nonsense attitude and how he deflects using humor. Something I think really prominently with this is the Golden Disc Awards. It was like that interview in like 2018, 2017, where basically the interviewer asked Jin to kiss V, which is super weird, by the way.
Yeah.
Just super out of pocket. And then Jin, as a way to protect V and the other members, also, I'm saying V just for the sake of saying it, it's Tae. We know. For the podcast listeners who are not on Twitter and just hanging out, I'm just trying to be inclusive here. Anyway, so that was a side note. But with Tae, like, basically he started yelling. Jin started yelling in the interview. An interviewer tried to ask them to kiss each other. And he was like, no! Ah! And he just started getting really loud. And it was like funny because people started laughing. Yeah. But then in doing that, he protected the members and protected himself too. And he also didn't make the interviewer lose face, which is something that's so Jin, in the way that he's just like very conscious of social situations and how to navigate them. And I think that's something that inspires me to be better at social situations too, and to understand how to navigate them better, because it's hard out here, guys.
It's rough out here. Woo!
Me, whenever someone speaks, I'm like, that is a word that happened in a tone that happened, and I don't know. Like, something notorious about me is that if you text me something, I have no idea what tone you are saying that in.
It's true. We just did this the other day. I said something, you totally misread the tone, and I had to correct it. It was fine. It worked out.
Yes. We're doing great. Anyway, what's your favorite thing about Jin, Kate?
My favorite, there are so many things, but if I had to choose, one of the things that I always think of when I think of Jin is the work hard, relax harder. And I think it was in the soup where he had the really nice, I made a whole video edit out of it, it's on Twitter somewhere, the really nice quote about how when you're taking downtime, you should actually relax. He was talking about how there's people out there that are like, oh, you should always be improving yourself, you should always be working towards something, blah, blah, blah. But he was like, I don't buy into that. When I'm doing my downtime, I actually take downtime and do nothing at all. And sometimes just lays there and literally does nothing. And I'm really bad at that. So bad. I partly that's just ADHD me of I feel like I always need to be giving my brain the good chemicals So I'm always like looking for stimulation, but my body also really needs to rest. And so I try to take his advice to heart. And I think that is something I try to carry with me actually daily. And so that's something about him. He really knows how to turn off the working brain and actually relax, and can just sit back and play video games for hours. And I enjoy that. And I can sit and watch him play video games for hours. So I guess it all works out.
Oh my god, the Getting Over It stream, the
that
best.
was amazing.
So good. He did that for Namjoon's birthday too. What a strange birthday. He was like, "Happy birthday, bro," as he's like struggling to get up on the game. Anyway.
Oh my gosh. That was great. That was like, what, 3 hours or something of my life. Really enjoyed wasting that time with him.
Yes. That's like prime Jin time.
Yes.
Yeah, like I feel like we've both been experiencing this lately too. I'm here currently running on 4 hours of sleep because I have a very hectic life. And you got sick because you were traveling so much. And then you went to New York, which is Germtown.
God, that
for
place
everyone.
was very germy. Yes.
I'm still mad at myself that I didn't ask if it was your first time going there, because I didn't get to warn you of how nasty New York is.
I was unprepared.
I thought you've gone before at a conference or something, but oh my god. And then you got like, so sick, and I felt so bad.
Yeah.
You were dying out there.
Yeah. I still have a little residual cough. It's amazing. This is week 3 or something now.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great out here. Every time you cough, I'm just like, Kate, hold on. Stay alive. Stay alive. Anyway, I love that song too. Jungkook, oh, iconic. Anyway, back to Jin. But yeah, those are some of our favorite things about Jin. We do love him, and he is iconic, amazing, worldwide handsome. Oh, neither of us talked about him being worldwide handsome. I feel like, okay, this is theory Jhertau right now. Theory hat Jhertau. I feel like he uses the worldwide handsome title like in a humorous way to deflect from people overly criticizing how the other members look.
Yeah. I actually agree with that.
That's one of his other protective methods.
Yeah. And I also think that him using it ironically like that also deflects from people overemphasizing his looks over his other skills, right? Him just throwing it out there and getting that out. It's okay, let's just get that out of the way. Teehee. And then now let's focus on the stuff that actually matters. And I really love that about him, actually. I was like trying to explain this to a non-army person once about he hams it up intentionally in this really funny way so that it like, I don't know, it breaks the ice, it clears the air, it does the things it needs to do for us to move on and be like, okay, now we can talk about the stuff that actually matters because yes, they all look great. Okay, moving on to the actual music and the shows and whatever we're talking about at the time. But anyway, yeah, I really love that about his persona.
He's so amazing in that type of aspect. Like the way he does like worldwide handsome, yes, and he moves on. It's great.
Yeah.
Also, my god, we didn't write this down either, but like variety show king. For real. I don't know if you watched him when he went onto the show Into the Jungle. I watched the clips of only him, by the way. I didn't care about the rest of the show. but the way that he interacts with the other people who are like, it's not the BTS members, but it's other celebrities, basically. And he's so good at interacting with people. It's actually wild. Conversational king right there, basically.
Which is like fascinating since he's like deeply introverted.
Yes. King right there. King.
Yeah.
The fake extrovert life. Iconic though. We love Jin, but you know who we don't love? We don't love Hey, let me segue.
Sorry, I just love your transitions. It's great.
Let me segue, okay? I'm transitioning. But you know who we don't love? Jin solo stands. Yuck. That we even have to put his name next to that word. Yuck. What do we not like about Jin solo stands, Kate?
Before we started the recording, I was trying to think of the interactions I've had with them. And they're definitely, at least in my army space. They're not as prevalent as some of the other ones. But so I was trying to think of any interactions I had with them, and I really couldn't come up with any. But what were we saying? Oh, yeah. So something that we were talking about was how they tend to take the like narratives and the things that people say about him or that he says about himself, but then turn it into this weird victimization thing, right? So taking things like, oh, he's not the best dancer, and somehow turning into this weird backhanded compliment / victimization thing that they do.
Like, he's not that bad of a dancer. It's
Right.
like, you don't need to say that.
Yeah.
You, like, phrasing is important here. Like, we're dancing for BTS, all of them amazing dancers. Straight up. You
Yeah.
couldn't survive in BTS not being an amazing dancer. You suddenly have amnesia and think that, oh, Jin is not a good dancer. Go watch the dope dance practice, the fire dance practice, just any dance practice, in the mic drop dance practice, the on dance practice. More recently, the run BTS dance practice. That man can dance.
Yeah. And he works hard at it. He like puts his all into it. He's talked about how much he practices and stuff. And there's no way we should be shading that, right? That's just, yeah.
Yeah, no way. Because also, I think there's like an important conversation to have here about dance training too. Because Jin started learning dance when he was older. Which is an important thing to note, because when you're like really young, there's a reason why like when people do ballet, they start so young.
Right.
Like, you can talk about this, Kate. Like, you did ballet.
Yeah. I started when I was like 3 or something. Yeah. Because your body, it takes a lot of training, and you have to like have the flexibility and the like all this stuff that like just routine training and practice like does to your body. I don't know. And the older you get, the harder it gets to like actually, your body is less flexible. Like literally there's less plasticity in because you're not growing anymore. Anyway.
No, that's exactly it. Because it is baffling to me when people compare the BTS members and how they dance when each of them came from very different backgrounds in dance.
Which is one of the things I love about them, is being able to pick out the different styles of dance and the different, like clearly different kinds of training they've had. That's what makes them so freaking cool, is because you could have them all doing identical choreo in identical timing, and yet you can still pick out the differences in each one of them, their unique style. I think that's the coolest thing ever.
No, that's exactly it. Like, the way that BTS come together as people of like different experiences and different backgrounds to be BTS is the whole reason we're here. We love BTS because it's BTS. And it's just the way that solo dance, it's so strange the way they talk about Jin's dance. We also have in our notes too about him being a singer as well, where people are like, Jin's voice fits everything. His voice doesn't only fit ballads. And it's like, where are you getting this narrative?
Yeah.
Where?
No, it's like that's an actually really interesting question of literally, where are they getting this from? Who is feeding them these stories that I don't even, someone put that misinformation out there somewhere and it just took off, right?
Because like sometimes people have like really bad takes. If someone said like Jin's voice only goes for ballads, oh, that's a bad take. You. Right. And you suck. But your take is not representative of the entire fandom. But solo stands try to act like people's bad takes are somehow representative of all of ARMY. There's the whole thing as well. Solo's trying to be separatists from ARMY, but then at the same time blaming ARMY for everything. Where do you want to be your own thing, or do you want to be included in the fandom? You have to pick. You cannot be acting like this.
It's true though.
Anyway, it makes me angry. Because it's the whole thing where like Jin has sung in songs like Come Back Home. Like, his opening for Come Back Home is iconic.
It's so good. And
there's so many times where he is praised for singing way more than he is demeaned in his singing. Also, a lot of the demeaning comments about the BTS members and their singing or dancing or rapping comes from, let's say it now, folks, xenophobic and racist people. Whoa! To also give power to those opinions, not the move. not the move.
Yeah.
We should completely disregard those opinions and don't even give energy to them. But yeah, Jin solo stands suck. Any other thoughts, Kate, on that?
While we're talking about problematic narratives and things that people keep perpetuating, there's the whole Hungline weirdness, especially when we talk about Jin and how quote unquote old he is.
He's 30, by the way.
30.
If 30 is old, we're all doomed.
I keep thinking about that when people are like, oh my God, you're 25. I still remember that being a thing on Twitter, like people acting like 25 is a death sentence. I don't know. It's hilarious.
One step into the grave.
One step into the grave.
It's time to choose your tombstone and casting it. Yeah, but I very much can agree with that. Also, I feel like there's like ageism just like in our culture as well. This is my theory. The whole reason the Hyung line versus Maknae line, even the idea of that conversation formed, is because of inherent ageism in our culture. There's a reason a lot of people are drawn to younger members. It's because they're younger.
Yeah.
And that's because of inherent ageism, where you don't see older people as valuable.
Which I find deeply ironic. I'm just saying.
Very deeply ironic. Watch, once Jungkook turns 30, Kate, the amount of discourse that there will be. Anyway.
And we're not that far away from him turning 30. I'm just saying. It's actually going to happen fairly soon. And I think it's interesting. It's one of those things that I do wonder as they get older, how much of a certain subset of the fandom is just kind of die out because they were never really here for the music in the first place. And that, I'll leave that thought there.
You can say that though. Very much, I feel like a part of the fandom will die out because of that. Because of the inherent ageism. That's why, that's my theory, by the way. I have no proof of this, no data. Because we see this conversation dying out too. Especially as the members age and as the fandom gets older. I don't think I've seen a Hyungline victimization conversation happen, except with baby armies. New armies who are just getting exposed to the discourse. Very much like armies who have been in the throes of it for a while. This is old news at this point. Get over it. The members are different ages. Revolutionary concept.
And fun story, as time moves forward, as it does, without any of us being able to stop it, everyone's going to keep getting older. All of us. We're all going to keep getting older.
Yes. I can't. There's like the whole thing too with talking about Hyungline victimization too. Each of the Hyungline members, like the oldest members, also have stereotypes about them. Specifically for Jin in this episode, there's being the eldest young and then being good at cooking, and people act like those are like bad things for him to be known by and like bad things to like associate with him. When I'm gonna say it. There's a lot of like fan fiction authors who tout this narrative. True. When you write fan fiction, you write the members in any type of situation, any type of capacity, and you are sticking with this as the hill you will die on. The audacity. I don't know. You had this whole, like when we were talking before something, you had this whole thing about like, the fandom narrative too, and Jin's person. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I was just thinking about how a lot of the things that we think about when we think about Jin are like, he's the oldest, and a lot of people like to refer to him as the mom, right? Like he's like the caregiver of the group. He's the person that's like kind of keeping all the ducklings in line. There's like cute videos of him like chasing after the other members to get them rounded up and get off stage or whatever. So there's like those sorts of things. There's like he's a really good cook. There's all these things we think about when we think of him, right? And this is true of every member, but with him in particular, I feel like he himself has done a lot intentionally to train us, if you will, to have these narratives about him. So like he's the one crafting a lot of this persona that then we are like iterating on and like regurgitating out into army spaces. I'm not saying this like it's a bad thing. It's a good thing. I think it's good that he's like making this really intentional persona of himself. And saying these things, like saying, oh, he's the caregiver, he's the best cook, whatever, like all these things, these are good things. And so when people get mad about him being stereotyped, I have to be like, is it something we should be mad about? I don't think so.
Yeah, because very much he like very intentionally has created a clear separation from
Yeah.
his celebrity persona and who he actually is as a person.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's intentional because a lot of celebrities do, like BTS themselves have talked about it too. I know Namjoon's talked about the difference between Kim Namjoon and RM of BTS.
Right.
And also Yoongi has done a whole thing. He's got Suga, Augustine, and Min
He's
Yoongi.
got layers of personas, and then he gave us an entire concert where he was literally peeling those layers back.
The
Like,
door.
Yes,
the door.
he literally gave us the entire visualization for what it means to have these just different personas and be in BTS. He literally gave us the visualization of it. And so when people are out there regurgitating these narratives, that's what they want, right? That's like the point of all this, is we have these stories that we've created about them, and they have helped craft and create that narrative with us, right?
Yes. Because there's something I know Bang BD has talked about this, the storytelling of BTS.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people think the story, quote unquote, the storytelling of BTS, they think that's like a bad thing. But BTS have a story that they tell about who they are as people and who each of them as individuals are. Yeah. And that is like a very clear way to separate like their celebrityhood versus who they actually are, like their personhood.
Yeah.
And it's not like a bad thing to have a story and to tell that story. Like BTS, a lot of people talk about this, but like the underdog story.
Right.
Because they do have an underdog story. So they're going to tell it.
The thing is, a lot of this, and that's like the key to having a good story. It's the key even when you're thinking about mythology or whatever. There's a grain of truth inside of it. And then the mythological piece comes out as the story gets retold throughout the community or whatever. But I think that like at the core, there's still important, it's like we're learning important lessons through telling these stories. Yes, they were the underdog, and look, they were able to build a community, and the community helped pull them through. And these are the stories we tell ourselves over and over again of, without Army, they wouldn't have been able to do this. And it's like this whole thing. And then they are reiterating these stories to us, and we're telling them back to ourselves and to them. This is how this community is built, right? This is how we, like, as a community, decide what our values are and stuff. And that's what we're sharing when we're sharing these stories. So it's a good thing. Stories are good. And it just gets interesting when you have who I would call outsiders, like these solo communities that are like taking these stories and twisting them and making them sound negative and doing these bad things with these stories, when we are all sitting here, can you just leave us alone?
No, that's the whole thing with solo stands. Do you want to be a part of Army, or do you not want to be? You cannot have both. And solo stands refuse to make a decision about that. We always have these conversations about streaming numbers. We can talk about this, but streaming numbers. And people are always like, oh my god, the Hyung line, their streams aren't as high as the Maknae lines. First off, let's put this in perspective. Taehyung, when he released Layover, his streams were much lower than Jungkook's Golden album streams. Yeah. And that's very intentional. There's like a whole like marketing media conversation to have there about the way that Tae released Layover was like very artsy. There was a lot of like different components that he wanted you to pay attention to. Yeah. But that was not optimized for streaming.
Right.
But because remember, for Tae, he released music videos not on typical release days.
Right.
So he didn't release them like on Friday, 12 a.m. He didn't do that for a Billboard and like that. Right. But Jungkook did.
Right.
For all his music videos.
Right.
For all his pre-release singles, for Standing Next to You, the title track of Golden. It was optimized for streaming. Right. It's frustrating, and also for like to contrast that with the Hyung line releases. There's like songs like the Amygdala MV released on a Monday, random time,
8 a.m. our time. Yeah. And we've had this conversation before about there's those of us who are taking our cues from the member who is releasing music, taking the cues they are giving us and telling us, okay, this is what's important to me about this release. So the amygdala is like the perfect example. Clearly, this is consume at your own time, at your own pace. I don't care about the numbers. This was very much like a very personal thing, right? Versus like the way that Tay did his release. Clearly a very different vibe than, oh, I'm going for numbers. So we as the general community, obviously we do what we can, but we're taking our cues from what they're giving us. And so I think that then if you look at the other releases, like Indigo is another really good example of that. Was a really artsy, the album was not really meant to be a big hit thing, right? It's not meant to be like a splash.
He also released it in December.
Like he made decisions that cued to me that this is something I'm gonna. It's just like how I listen to Mono. I go to that album when I'm in that mood, when I need Mono. For me is like my comfort album, right? But so Indigo is another one of those where I'm like, this is for me when I'm in a very particular kind of mood, when I want to listen to this kind of music. It's not meant to be streamed over and over and over again in the same way that Golden is probably supposed to, right?
All these victimization narratives and these solo stand narratives and rhetoric. It's like people are twisting, or people, okay, backtracking. Solo stands are always trying to blame other people.
Yeah.
When really they are upset with the member themselves and the decisions the member is making.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to talk about this. People always talk about how Indigo isn't a million-seller album.
Right.
First question.
I saw that just last week. People were talking about that.
Yeah. First question. Which chart is Indigo not a million-seller on?
I have absolutely no idea.
Let it
this is a question for me. I don't know anything.
No, this is also a question for the viewers. The Hanteo chart, which is the Korean chart. You want to know who affects the Korean chart sales? People in Korea. And if you buy through distributors in America or other countries that buy from Korean sellers. Solo stance. RM solo stance constantly going, Indigo's not a million seller. Indigo's not a million seller. And they're buying albums at what? Target or Walmart of Indigo.
Right.
And it's so, are you aware of which chart those sales count for? This is a question for you too, Kate. If you want to answer, when you buy an album at Target, which chart does that count for?
Billboard?
Yes.
Mark?
It counts for Billboard. Correct. You're like so nervous right now.
I'm like, this feels like it should be the right answer.
Yeah.
But I literally don't know. I just do what people tell me to do when it's time to buy stuff.
No, that's smart. That's smart. Just do what armies tell you to do. Don't think too hard about it.
The funding accounts. The funding accounts put out very clear instructions about where I'm supposed to buy stuff, and I just follow them.
Yes, that's exactly what you should do, because the funding accounts have done all the effort already.
That's right. I don't need to think about it. They've given me very clear instructions of where I need to buy and what I need to download and how I need to do it, and I just follow the instructions very explicitly.
Yes. But for me personally, what's frustrating is when people talk about stuff like that, where they're like, Indigo's not a million seller. And it's like, you don't even know which chart Indigo is not a million seller on. You don't even know where to buy to make the numbers on that chart go higher. You're buying albums at Target when that doesn't even count for Hanteo chart. That counts for Billboard.
Cute.
And it's, I don't know, it might actually drive me like a little bit insane. Especially as someone who works with a funding fan base, it's we give you such clear information and instructions, and you are out here with a solo stand rhetoric and victimization narrative about something you don't even understand. You don't even understand. There's people buying albums, like Indigo albums, or even the Astronaut albums too. Bringing this back to Jin, they're like, oh, the sales are too low, and they're buying it on Weverse USA. It's like, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know. And then you run around giving all these solo stand narratives too at the same time, while also not knowing what you're doing. Like with the whole charting album situation, it's the helpless leading to clueless, basically. It's these people
Yeah.
who don't know anything, trying to lead other people who don't know anything. And it's if you just listen to the armies who have already done all the work for you, by the way, they make very comprehensive, nice, easy to read graphics for you to read.
What I'm saying, I just go on Twitter, find the visualization I need, and I just follow the steps. They've literally made it foolproof for me. I love it.
Yes. Even for the Golden album release, because there's so many different platforms to buy Golden on, and there's so many different versions of from Golden songs to buy, from like the remixes all the way to like the actual tracks. There's people who make Google Sheets, who make bingo cards basically for you to like little check marks on and keep track of what you're buying. There's so many resources people make to help you. And you just need to not fall for solo stan rhetoric. That is your one job. Your one job. And so many of you are failing it. And stop failing it. Stop failing it. Seriously. This is getting out of control. But yeah, to bring it back to Jin, icon, legend, and also to bring it back to the ageism conversation too, because we didn't finish that completely.
Oh yeah, we derailed ourselves.
As a young person, seeing the way that people devalue people who are like barely scratching 30. Jin is 30, by the way.
Isn't he turning? Hold on, I can do math. He's turning 31.
Yes,
this year?
this December.
Yeah. 31, y'all. 31.
Yeah, and
like in your 30s, in case you need that.
I can't believe I'm saying this. He's not old.
No.
He's not old. And there's people who act like he is, which is wild. There's people who weren't even born yet when he was born, calling him old.
Yeah.
It just, like, the ageism is, like, wild. I don't know. I'm tossing this to you, Kate, because you had some things to say before this episode.
I just have some feelings about, and I don't really have a full understanding of where it comes from or anything, but there is a lot of ageism just in general within the army community. And it's one of the go-to things, like when I'm getting canceled, for example, recently, as an example, when people disagreed with me, they, instead of disagreeing with me, they just immediately turned to discussing my age. And it's actually now a whole meme in my lab. I'm making it a meme. I don't care if anybody else gets on this bandwagon or not, but I'm making it a meme because there was the one person who tweeted at me and said, "No offense, Kate, but you are 40. And I just love that so much because they couldn't even get my age. They like literally had my birth year in my bio and they couldn't even do the math on it. So go back to school, kids. I don't know. Anyway, but I'm just saying it's wild to me. That's like the fallback. And I guess it's true of like ableism and racism and all the other things. It's just like an easy thing when you decide you don't agree with someone or you're trying to cancel them or whatever, that it's easy to fall back on just being offensive about parts of their identity. And ageism just seems to be like one of those go-to things. Super fun. Love it.
No offense, Kate, but you're 40. Everything you just said, invalid. Invalid. No, but during lab, I make everyone feel old all the time. Remember one time I explained Five Nights at Freddy's to you guys in the movie and who Matt Pat is?
Yeah. And the only reason I even knew what any of that was is because my 8-year-old is super into it. Yeah.
That's prime FNAF time right there. Just scraping it. I remember being 8. I like discovered what Slender Man was. I was like, oh, that's nice. Cool. Very cool. Minecraft horror mods. Wild.
Ooh, good stuff. But yeah, some of that I had my 8-year-old was like getting into that. I was like, let's steer this another direction, maybe. It's too scary for me. Mama is a little scared right now.
But yeah, with those experiences you've had, I've had those experiences, but in reverse. On Stan Twitter, I don't show my age on my bio anymore because I'm over 18, and that's all people need to know. Smile. Yeah. And it's just, bro, my experiences are not extreme as yours. The way people, they clock your age and go immediately hag.
Yeah.
Old.
Yeah.
Invalid.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I don't know. It's so funny to me because I never had that mindset when I was younger. I don't know, maybe I'm weird. I always saw older people. Yes, there are older people who clearly are set in their ways. I'm thinking of older conservative white dudes, for example. There are certain demographics of people where I'm like, okay, whatever. For the most part, people in my life that I actually personally interact with, older people bring experience to the table. They have, I don't know, wisdom, things that they've experienced in their lives could help a younger person out. I don't know. Resources. I don't know. There's things that like older people have that are potentially a good thing for the whole community. So it like baffles me that there's this hatred towards being old. And again, like I was saying earlier, it's one of those things like if all goes well in your life, you too will get older. This is just a thing that will happen naturally. And then you will also be
Yeah.
old.
No, but that's like the whole thing. It's you're also gonna get old. So I don't know what your problem is.
Yeah. It's
Like
wild.
for me, this is gonna be a funny term to say, but I've always grown up in multi-generational fandoms. So
Yeah.
like when I first got into my really first serious fandom, I was surrounded by people who were like who were basically teens, young adults, and then middle-aged. And
Yeah.
also there was like this one lady who she was 50 and she wrote a lot of fanfic. And
Yeah.
it's being surrounded by a lot of people from a lot of different age groups. You learn everyone is living the same life, hanging out.
Yeah.
If you send a meme to a 15-year-old or a 30-year-old or a 50-year-old, they're all gonna enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't I don't know. I like get really frustrated, especially because like people my age who are like super duper ageist. I don't know. I think ageism has always existed, but I think like TikTok and like other online things have like certainly amplified it to
Yeah.
the point where like the over obsessive use of skincare and like anti-aging treatments and like plastic surgery is wild to me. There's like people who are my age who have like 13-step skincare routines and their skin isn't even they don't even have acne prone skin. And it's just like this obsession with like youth and beauty that is killing our society.
Yes.
It is killing us, Kate. Ageism is killing us. But yeah, all those people are gonna turn 30 and then hit a mental block. I will be on a cruise. Yeah, but it's okay to be old. Shout out to old people like Kate.
Shout out to Jin, who's 31 now.
Iconic. Shout out to Jin, who's 31 now. Official old person.
That's right.
But he's iconic. It's okay to be old and iconic. He's not that old. That's the whole conversation we're trying to have. I don't know. I think you're not old till you hit 60. For real. Even when I hear about people dying at 50, I think that's too young.
That is too young. It's true.
It makes me a little sad. But yeah, that's Jin. That's Jin's birthday. Happy birthday, Jin.
Happy birthday, Jin.
Okay, sing it. Sing it.
That's it. That's all I got.
That's all you got. No, that's real. I was like so ready to hype you up.
Yep. No, I have lines I will not cross.
No, that's real. But yeah, happy birthday, Jin. Worldwide handsome, most iconic, most funny, filled with personality. Okay, he's a total catch. Okay, he's funny and attractive and rich
and can cook. Hello?
And he can cook. And he can drive. Oh my god, passenger princess life right there. He literally drives in every Bon Voyage, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
He's a king. He's a king. Icon right there. I love him. But yeah, happy birthday, Jin. Any final thoughts, Kate?
Just, I love Jin. I love... That could sound funny out of context. But anyways, now you have that audio clip.
Don't say that. They're going to clip it now.
I love Jin. But yes, happy birthday, Jin. And I am really looking forward to the chaos that is going to be Army and Jin when we are together again, when he is done with his enlistment. It's going to be amazingly chaotic, and I cannot wait.
Yay!
Yay.
And my final thoughts. He is my biggest inspiration. He's my big fave. You know how every army has like a line or like the
Mhm.
3 members that they love the most?
Mhm.
Even though we love all of them. Iconic. My line is Mini Money In. So it's Namjoon, Jimin, and Jin. And just the one V-Live where Namjoon has the knife.
Yes. My God, that is one of my favorites. That is one of my favorite lives.
It's so good. I need it like
It's so
every
good.
time someone becomes an army, I have to show them that. I have like,
Yeah.
have you seen this?
That's a good one. No, that's true. And honestly, that's the kind of chaos I'm expecting when he comes back and then
Yes.
we're together again.
Daddy
That is
will
the
be
sort of
home
chaos I'm looking
soon.
forward to.
Daddy will be home soon.
Yes.
Iconic. Okay, anyway. Thank you all for listening. Have a wonderful day. Remember, as always, go stream The Astronaut, go stream Abyss tonight. Super Tuna. Hiya! Iconic. You couldn't see me, but I did the dance right there. Yeah, iconic. But
True.
yeah, go stream all of Jin's songs, all of Jin's discography. He is the icon, the legend, the worldwide handsome. And remember to stream recent releases too. Top to bottom. Top to bottom. Do all that. And you take care of yourself. Okay, that's it. Bye!
Bye.